Russian President Vladimir Putin was recruited as a KGB agent after graduating from university. He served as an agent in East Germany for 5 years. Putin's experience as a KGB operative may have helped to mold his worldview. The Cold War is long finished, but Russian intelligence has been all over the American news. Russia is accused of hacking the DNC's emails and engaging in other forms of cyber subversion in order to throw the race in favor of now U.S. President Donald Trump. A series of politically charged social media groups and advertising campaigns have been traced back to Russia, and Special Counsel Robert Mueller is reportedly investigating former Trump campaign manager Paul Manafort, allegedly for potential collusion with Russia. Russian President Vladimir Putin has denied that his country is involved in a cyber war with the U.S. At the same time, he's also expressed his pride in the unique people of Russia's intelligence community, according to the AFP. Putin's soft spot for spies comes as no surprise. His previous career was a KGB operative. Here's a look into Putin's early career as a spy. As a teenager, Putin was captivated by the novel and film series The Shield and the Sword. The story focuses on a brave Soviet secret agent who helps thwart the Nazis. Putin later said he was struck by how one spy could decide the fate of thousands of people. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. Putin went to school at St. Petersburg State University, where he studied law. His undergraduate thesis focused on international law and trade. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. After initially considering going into law, Putin was recruited into the KGB upon graduating in 1975. KGB headquarters, also known as the Lubyanka Building. Wikimedia Commons. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. After getting the good news, Putin and a friend headed to a nearby Georgian restaurant. They celebrated over satsevai, grilled chicken prepared with walnut sauce, and down shots of sweet liquor. Satsevai. Paul Keller/Flickr. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. He trained at the Red Banner Institute in Moscow. Putin's former chief of staff and fellow KGB trainee Sergei Ivanov told The Telegraph that some lessons from senior spies amounted to little more than idiocy. Source: Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. The Telegraph. Putin belonged to the cohort of outsiders KGB chairman Yuri Andropov pumped into the intelligence agency in the 1970s. Andropov's goal was to improve the institution by recruiting younger, more critical KGB officers. Source: Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. Putin's spy career was far from glamorous, according to Steve Lee Myers. The News Hour. His early years consisted of working in a gloomy office filled with aging staffers, pushing papers at work and still living at home with his parents without a room of his own. Putin. Pool/Getty Images. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. He attended training at the heavily fortified School No. 401 in St. Petersburg, where prospective officers learned intelligence tactics and interrogation techniques, and trained physically. In 1976, he became a first lieutenant. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. Putin's focus may have included counterintelligence and monitoring foreigners. According to Myers, Putin may have also worked with the KGB's 5th Chief Directorate, which was dedicated to crushing political dissidents. Source: The News Hour. The rise and reign of Vladimir Putin. In 1985, Putin adopted the cover identity of a translator and transferred to Dresden, Germany. In Mr. Putin, Fiona Hill and Cliff Gaddy speculate his mission may have been to recruit top East German Communist Party and Stasi officials, steal technological secrets, compromise visiting Westerners, or travel undercover to West Germany. Putin.Getty Images. Staff source: Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. Hill and Gaddy conclude that the most likely answer to which of these was Putin's actual mission in Dresden is all of the above. Source: Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. Putin has said that his time in the KGB, and speaking with older agents, caused him to question the direction of the USSR. In intelligence at that time, we permitted ourselves to think differently and to say things that few others could permit themselves, he said. Putin. Alexander Zamlyanichenko/AP source, Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin. At one point, crowds mobbed the KGB's Dresden location after the fall of the Berlin Wall in 1989. Putin has claimed to have brandished a pistol to scare looters from the office. Source, Mr. Putin, operative in the Kremlin, The Telegraph. The future Russian president didn't return home till 1990s. It's believed that Putin's 10